Hey, it's Jim Craddock here. It's Monday, August 28th in the afternoon. You can tell by the sun being behind me. Those are my two dogs, by the way, Oscar and Augie. I don't have anything really specific that I wanted to say today. With general, how I'm feeling today is distracted. My arm's been hurting. Oh, and I've got that blinking going on. That's really annoying. Sorry about that. Anyway, my arm's been hurting. It's been burning some. I decided I'd go today with the to try putting the miconazole and clotrimazole on my arm again to see if that helped. And honestly, I don't know. It makes a skin burn is the best way I can put it, which it shouldn't. It should be basically be a neutral feeling. And then just deep down, I've been having like it's hard to describe it. Just little explosions of deep kind of pain feeling. And then my muscle itself, my bicep especially, and my shoulder, which are like tiny compared to what they used to be. Oh my God, so small. But if I tense the muscle like that, and then I stop, it starts hurting. And takes a little while for it to stop. Okay. And then I can resume normal activity. So you can imagine kind of what that's like as I go to do things. And that is the letting off pain. It's not the type of pain I was having, say 4 weeks ago when I would go to do something. It was all tight and I could feel it rip. So I can tell that things have progressed to something different. And that's like this whole, I've been going through this really for 28 years, but specifically this last transition is now I'm into 19 months of it. And, that's the difficulty with it, is that it keeps changing. So it started with polyuria, loose bowel movements, and then it went to, oh gosh, I can't even say what was next. I'd have to go back through my notes, but I had back pain. I had abdominal pain, really bad. Then I had kind of on and off, just severe constipation throughout this whole thing as it goes through different parts of this phase. But another thing that I went through then was and this, man, I remember the day this started. It was literally the day we were on our way to vacation, and I got in the car, and it just started this tightening up on the inside of my abdomen. Just felt like just super tight feeling of pain, and it would always be in the afternoon, and then it would get better in the late evening, and that went on for a couple weeks. And then in the fall, I'm trying to think what else. Oh, so that's, I went through in around Thanksgiving. I went through, my esophagus swelled up and I was hospitalized, and they saw it on the CT, and by the time they got in 2 days later, all the swelling was gone. Then I went through like another couple months of, hey, there's not too much to complain about, on and off, stomach issues. And then suddenly in February, I fly up to the Cleveland Clinic, and right before I started to go up there, I started getting these really severe, intense pains in my stomach. And then I know exactly what that is. That's the blood flow closing off. And I don't think I've ever explained this, but it's just in my paper. But so due to the suction of the heart, so when when volume is depleted, okay, and so you don't have as much to fill up the vessels as eventually, okay, you've got the suction going on, and eventually what will happen is one of those, so you got lots of little vessels. It's not just one vessel, right? You got lots of little vessels everywhere, and the suction's pulling on all of them. And eventually, one of them will just be pulled closed. Okay. And well, once it's closed, it's now closed forever. It never opens it back up. See, that's the difference when your driving force is pumping. Okay, you're always pushing through there. Okay. So even if you were to close that off, it gets opened back up again when the next pump goes. But with suction, once it's closed off, okay, now there's this suction on it, and it never opens back up again. And so you get this huge pain from that. And it's nothing that shows up. You go, you would expect, hey, and I will admit, I did not go for any pictures during any of this, for any imaging, because I knew exactly what was going on, and I knew it wasn't going to show up. So what good does it do me to go? It just runs up the bills and makes them think that I'm crazy. So I have endured at different times. Well, I was on vacation for a week, and during every afternoon, just huge pain. And my arms were burning at the time too, but huge abdominal pain. Then again, abdominal pain in February of this year, migraines, all types of things without ever, seeking emergency care. Obviously once I couldn't eat, or drink, we went to the ER, but that, even then, so that was a Thursday. I couldn't eat or drink. My wife was scheduled for her gallbladder out on Friday, so I didn't eat or drink Friday. I didn't eat or drink Saturday because she couldn't go to the ER with me. And then finally Sunday we went to the ER. And by then I was able to start drinking, but still when they did the CT, they could see that my throat was swollen, and it was thus less swollen than it had been. Okay, because I couldn't even swallow the couple of days before. Anyway, so I have been through so much, and I know I'm going to go through more, and I don't have any choices but to take it on. The problem is I shouldn't be doing this without any guidance. I should have basically a medical playbook by now that says, hey, this is what you've got, and these are the things you're going to go through, and these are the things that you can kind of help do to alleviate it or whatever. Okay, but they've redacted the science, and it's so frustrating for me that the science is not out there, and I know it is out there, but the science isn't available out there, not digitally. And now maybe, obviously, I found it in a book somewhere, so that book exists somewhere, but I can't, it was never digitized. I'll tell you something kind of funny. I've taken to posting on the WHO's Twitter account, and all I do is I'll post something like, hey, what about terminal onset diabetes insipidus with candidiasis major? And they delete my posts every time. I think it's kind of funny. But that I, and they do it fairly quickly. I did one this morning, and it's gone now in the afternoon. So, I didn't even know that you could delete posts that other people made, but they get deleted. Isn't that interesting? I have no idea how to delete somebody's post. Let me see if I can do it real quick. I'm going to pause. So I checked it out. Just went out to Twitter, and yeah, so you can hide a reply. I guess that's what they're doing, is they're hiding my replies. I think it's funny that somebody has to do that. And so just a little background. The WHO makes ICD-9 codes. At some point there was a diagnosis of terminal onset diabetes insipidus with candidiasis major. It's no longer out there as part of ICD codes, and you can't go find all the intermediate revisions of ICD codes, and so you can't really tell if it ever was one or wasn't one, just because the data is not out there online. Anyway, so nothing I could do about it. I'm just trying to get by day to day. I feel bad about my job because I don't do as well today as I could do. you know, I'm still a smart guy. I can still code and everything. It's just, you know, I get distracted. I feel, I mean, it is very difficult to be in my situation, to have this continually cascading set of changes, to be denied any type of medical, you know, basically validation. And so as a result, you know, I just have to keep trying to do everything I'm normally doing, and it's hard. And it would, I mean, it would be so much easier if somebody said, "Hey, you've got this disease," and you know, you know, I would have a label, and I would be able to tell my employer, and you know, I could tell family and things like that, and you know, to if I chose to, and we would be able to deal with it. But as it is right now, it really just makes me look like, you know, I'm a whiner. I don't know, you know, and I'm not that guy. I mean, you know, I after each, to tell you how hard these transitions are that it puts you through, that every single one of them, I was very certain that I was going to die. That's how much pain I was in. That's how awful my body felt. And you know, I knew that nobody medically was going to find anything or do anything if I went to them. Uh, and I mean, you give up after a while, and you just deal with the pain, and you lock yourself in a room, and you just, you know, you just pray for it to get better. And you know, I bless my mom's heart. She nursed me through two of those transitions all by herself, where I went and stayed at her house, and she would make me breakfast and make sure I eat, and you know, and got me back on my feet. And you know, these were the worst patches, would be like maybe a week or two worth of time, where it was just, I mean, every day you think, okay, I can't, I just can't function uh because of everything that's going on. And then finally it lets up, and you're like, okay, I'm going to try. And I remember one time when I started feeling a little bit better, and I was like, okay, man, I'm going to run down the sidewalk to prove that that won't kill myself. And I ran down the sidewalk, and you know, and then so after that I started slowly getting better. But I mean, there's another one of the transitions when I was in the hospital, and I mean, it's like overnight, my legs just turned to jello. It felt like my bowels were basically going to lose themselves everywhere. And you know, I I I remember that was like February, and there's snow out of the ground, and I remember forcing myself to go out and get firewood, and thinking, oh my gosh, I can barely walk out here to this firewood, and that occurred within a span of days, and that's how much strength it pulled out of me. Uh, and so, you know, it's been so hard, is all I'm going to say. And to not to have that information taken out of the public domain, uh, for what, you know, whatever the reasons were, uh, ethically, obviously, that it changes your biology so much, it changes biochemistry, but there's so much science there that they're losing. And at the same time, the people like me are just abandoned to suffer. And so in the original state I got myself in this hyponatremic state, where you've got this reversal of the, well, not reversal, but you got this suction going on with your heart. Every single other person that's ever happened to has died by definition, because there is not a playbook out there for the doctors to deal with it. And they wouldn't know what they were looking at, because there is no playbook. So so they didn't get the treatment that they needed, okay, and they died, and that will happen to somebody else. And you know, it's not right. It's all I can tell you is that I would hope for a better world than that. I mean, if we can't deal with putting the science out there and saying, hey, this is dangerous science, it, it, I mean, I don't know. It's the right thing to do, and I don't know. I hope that someone does something about it. I hope that someone changes the policies. But I'm reading this book right now. Great book, Broken Money by Lyn Alden. Lyn Alden is easily the best macro person out there. Has so much knowledge and intelligence, and just plays it cool, and is you can tell that she could be cocky if she wanted to, but she's just out there saying what she thinks, and she's right. But anyway, I'm reading her book, and it talks about how the developed nations had basically over time just sucked all the value out of the developing countries. Okay, well, these countries are never going to develop, okay, because we're sucking the value out of them with our policies, with with giving them dollar-based loans, which then when their currency inflates, they can't afford to pay back, and putting harsh restrictions on them, austerity, making them raise interest rates and different things. And so what do we do when the times are bad? Here, we print money and we lower interest rates, okay? But we've got this all-powerful dollar, and that's stupid too, because this all-powerful dollar is just is basically being the downfall of our country, because of the fact that we have to pay our workers wages in these high-priced dollars, okay, and we can't compete with the rest of the world, so we have no manufacturing capacity, because our workers would have to be paid too much money. Now then, once everything becomes robotic, I fully expect that, hey, yeah, maybe we'll get to where we have better manufacturing capacity, but then, I mean, it's still, then there's no jobs out of that. Anyway, it illuminates again and again in this book, and I highly would encourage you to read it, how, basically, like the Iraq War. Well, why do we go into Iraq? Okay, weapons of mass destruction, which were never found. Okay, and what it really was Hussein was selling oil for something other than dollars, and we couldn't allow that to happen, because if somebody started doing that, well, suddenly everybody would be trading in other currencies, and when they don't need dollars anymore, okay, then that means that they wouldn't be holding our reserves, and our interest rates would go sky high, and we wouldn't be able to be the country we are. And honestly, we shouldn't be able to be the country we are, and that's all going to fix itself in the next 10 years. Bitcoin should fix that. So I'm a big Bitcoin opponent, in case you can't tell. But anyway, I digress, I guess. But so I'm making it. It's just another day. I checked on my appointments. My next appointment is September 11th. My follow-up with my orthopede, and I haven't ever shared this whole story with her yet. I told her I would, but I said that's for later, after we look at this arm stuff. But I'm taking from here on out. I'm going all the way with medical, because I'm now at the point where this isn't where I have these 2-month periods and then everything is great. Okay, and now I'm in this gradual decline, stuff going wrong all the time. I am going to pursue every single avenue. All right, and so and my whole purpose there is, at some point, they're going to find something that they don't understand. And at that point, I'm going to go public with everything. And if we don't ever get there, then everything just becomes public, after I pass. So, so I'm going to ask for muscle biopsies, and I've already been told not to get those done in Tulsa. So we'll go from there. And then that same week I have my bone density follow-up. It just happens to coincidentally be scheduled now from a year ago. So we'll do a bone density follow-up that week. And I think I have my neuro follow-up that week. So that's the week. So that's 2 weeks from now. So today, two weeks from today will be the orthoped follow-up, and then several other appointments that week. And I can tell you how I feel about all that and it's been this way for me for 19 months. 2 weeks is further out than I can look in the future, really. Okay. Yeah, I schedule stuff for 2 weeks out. Okay, but I look at it and say, might happen, might not. I don't know. Because I don't have a damn playbook to go by. I don't have all the research that those people did to know how this should progress. I've got my memories, and I remember these people ended up iced. They were icing themselves from head to toe due to all the burning and stuff like that. But also remember the part about the article where it said, in today's world, that person would probably give up on medicine, and then eventually they could just die in the middle of a laugh when basically they keep eating and their bowels have stopped and they can't feel it. And this is so key to this disease, is as it cuts off circulation to all these things, you lose feeling to those things inside. And you think, oh, you couldn't cut off circulation to your intestines and still have it working. Well, you can. You're forcing food down, and then there's this suction effect, okay, that happens in your abdomen from the way it's draining fluids. Don't ask me how, but the way it's draining fluids, basically, when you urinate, you're causing this negative pressure in there, and that helps pull also. Which is, that negative pressure is one reason why you can't ever have a surgery with this condition, because if any puncture of the abdominal cavity would instantly kill you. So anyway, it's, like I said, it's just hard, and it's been 19 months of hard, and it may be 20 months of hard, it may be 24 months. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you. I'm here to document it and to leave behind some type of scientific legacy to say this thing exists. They have taken the science away, and people should be aware. And worse than that is, people should be aware in general that they're taking science away. I mean, to me, science should be, it should be like a platform, okay? And everybody is building on the science of everybody else, okay? And so what they've done is they've just reached in there, it's like a Jenga, and they've pulled out a block or something, okay? And people can't build on the science that they pulled out. And I understand they're worried that they could build something, that maybe would be bioethically, challenged, or whatever you want to say, okay? But maybe they would find something that would cure diabetes, okay? I mean, literally, that's one of the things about this condition, is that you have this alternate way of generating ATP, and there's some phagocytic process that, like, it your glycosylated red blood cells get consumed, and so if you could prevent diabetes and high blood sugar levels and everything, then, you know, maybe that alone would be worth it. I don't know, but nobody will ever know if the science doesn't come out. Maybe they find something else that allows them to, you know, deal with something else, or, you know, to tweak the way the pituitary works to deal with some other disease that people have. I don't know, but without the science, it'll never be done. They've taken that level of the platform out. So anyway, it's quitting time. I just wanted to leave a message. I'm trying to do one message a day from here on out, and I've got them set up for 2024. I think that's a pretty far out there in the future for how things are going with my body. So take it easy. Jim signing off.